Greater light, greater light, greater light, greater light, greater light. Let me get this party started right. Let me get this party started quickly. Hmm? I want to blow it loud right now. This ain't the time. I want to hear it roll. Hmm? Whistles ready, conch shell ready. My mind is God's mind. I'm always reflecting divine wisdom and divine intelligence. My brain symbolizes the capacity to think wisely and spiritually. God's ideas unfold within my mind in perfect sequence. I am always poised, balanced, serene, and calm because I know God provided the perfect solution before the foundations of all this man made mumbo jumbo, before the foundations of the flesh that He sent me through to relay these messages to you in these last days. Um, Before my mother's womb, before my mother's mother's womb, before my grandmother's mother's womb. I was with him. Huh? I was with him before the foundations. You know why? Because the Bible tells me so. That's the first song they made sure I learned how to sing to stand up in front of the church. You know, I don't have such a wonderful, magnificent, what they call studio quality, get on a stage type voice, but I have voice enough to sing to the name, honor, and glory of God. And from the very first song that I had to sing, the very first song was "Cause the Bible tells me so." Huh? They gave me a mic and they said, "You gonna sing this now." Every time before the pastor get up to sing, if he, it don't matter what was on the schedule, what was in the program, if he felt he wanted to hear Abigail sing, "Cause the Bible tell me so," I was gonna get up and sing. Cause the Bible tells me that I was created before the foundations of all this man-made mumbo jumbo. Don't you believe in you, the living word of God that existed in the beginning was the word, and the word was with God. And he thought of you. He had a thought of you before he even spoke a word. That's what made you the word. And they didn't like that one word. Huh? They didn't like that. So they had to make many words. And it don't say in the beginning was the words, and the words was with God. No. They had to go put an S on it, something serpentine. Before the foundations of all man made, I was with him. I am always poised, balanced, serene, and calm because I know God provided the perfect solution in my DNA, better than any man made solution right now. As little as I've been eating, and I don't know if it's because I'm eating the high in iron or they just loading iron in everything for people like me, because iron binds me. Uh, so it looked like they trying to get me to get back into that same situation a week and a half ago. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. I got things to do. Hmm? So no type of radiation that you could feed me is going to be the perfect solution for my needs right now. That the needs and necessities of what I'm supposed to do, that I'm instructed to do in this very moment in time, in space and history and quantum entanglements and everything else that they got going on. the perfect solution to every single one of my needs. You say amen. I say God is keeping his promises. You could see it before your very eyes that God is keeping his promises. You could say Selah. You could say Anshamalama. You could say whatever it is that you say that makes you a witness to whatever it is God has done for you or gonna do for you or may not do for you at all because you don't even believe in it. You don't want to believe in it. You don't want to accept God really. You got your mind and flesh on man-made things, the man-made dollars, the bank accounts, the things of this earth, huh? And for sure you're gonna turn around and make the wrong decision. You're gonna accept the mark of the beast as easy as when Elon sends out, huh? When they send, it may not be 5,000, it might be 4,000. They might increase it to 6 or 7,000. Whatever it is that he sends out to the Americans, the moment you sign for it, you are attached. You have accepted the mark of the beast. You don't believe me? You don't have to believe me. The word says it. And I'm going to show you where the word says it. And I hope that things continue to go the way that it's going. The message, only one person can come over here. And by the time that person has traveled, they have sent the message to voices are louder than mine. And got more people than me, and it's reaching to all the world in this generation. And every time I check my analytics, different countries are now popping up. Indonesia in my analytics, Brazil in my analytics. They listening in from Greek. They got Russia blocked. The analytics is changing. To reach those who it's supposed to reach. Everybody gets assigned a certain amount. I assume. I don't know. All this stuff was here before I got here. I'm just doing what my ordered steps, what they supposed to be doing. It don't matter that you don't believe. Every knee is going to bow. Every knee, including the 24 demons that are in charge right now, trying to block safe passage. They preparing. They saddling up right now to try to cause a war and prevent my grandmother's safe passage right now. You don't believe me? You don't have to believe me. This ain't meant for you to believe. I'm talking directly to the spiritual wickedness in high places. I'm talking directly to y'all. And this tone and frequency will travel, let it travel all the way through up to Elon Musk ears. Up to the Catalans. This is a direct, I'm speaking on the authority of the bloodline that I came through and the knowledge that was passed on through the light codex that was given through the Son. If safe passage is not allowed, that's the problem we're going to be on y'all. Because the ELOIHUs of Hukanu are on standby. There are all different beings, the 12 different tribal entities that are indigenous to the kingdom of heaven, native to the kingdom of heaven, are on alert, and y'all know it. Risk left the alignment on the 17th, between the 17th and the 18th, or the 9th planet. Now y'all want to play with y'all frequencies and put your demons on guards. I'm going to call each demon by name right now. As above, so below. So the 24 hours of time that are supposed to bow, where time will be no more, or the demonic forces of the 24. You have the 24 hours of time that people have the enlightened and great memories of. If I could turn back time. And then you have the warriors. According to my light code and my DNA and all that I know about my flesh and blood, some of them are relatives of mine, but they chose the side that they wanted to work for. And they will be like Solomon and decide no matter what God say, they gonna fight it all the way to the end. No, their answer is no. We don't want what you have to offer, God. We are happy with this wickedness and evil that we have been frolicking and playing in the mud with. So I'm going to call you all by name. But before I do that, in honor of my living ancestral descendant being, who the three light beings, when they dropped me off, put her as the guardian over me. When one of the light beings went to the foot of her bed and the other went to the head of her bed, that was them ordaining her to be my guardian, and she has been just that. In that honor, I will read the 19 times 19, or the 91st safe passage that was passed down by Abigail when she was at the side of King David. No, yes. We live in the shadow of the Almighty, sheltered by who is above all gods. This I declare, that he alone is her refuge, her place of safety. He is her Hukanu, and I am trusting him, for he rescued her from every trap and protected her from every fatal plague. He will shield her with his wings on her way up out of here. He will shelter her. His faithful promises is her amour. Now, she don't have to be afraid any longer of the dark, nor fear any of the dangers of the day, nor dread any plagues of the darkness and the whispering in the midnight hours, nor any disasters in their good mornings. Though 1,000 fell at her side, she's seen thousands fall. And though 10,000s are dying all around her, evil will not touch her. I will see the wicked are punished, but I will not share it. She has seen the wicked punished, and she has not shared it. I need to change these glasses. For Hukanu is her refuge. She chose who above all gods to shelter her. How then can evil overtake her or any plague come near her? Not on my watch. For he orders his angels to protect her wherever she is headed right now in this great transition. They will steady her with their hands. They will guide her, and the angels will protect her and keep her from stumbling against the meteors and the asteroids and all of these man-made simulations that will be coming while she is on the trail up out of here. She can safely meet the lion and step on the poisonous dragon. Yes, even trample them beneath her feet on the way out. For Hukanu says, because because he loves her, he is rescuing her. He will make her great in the eyes of the angelic ones as they welcome her in, because she trusted in his name. When he calls, she will answer. Ain't no crying, ain't no weeping unless you crying tears of joy. Now I'm talking to family. He has been there with her in times of trouble, and he has rescued her, and he honors her. He will satisfy her with full eternal life, and she has received his salvation. That's Psalms 91, safe passage to the transition. Now, for all them guardians that want to try to make war, y'all know y'all war and battle don't have nothing to do with her. Y'all waiting on my light to transition. So again, that was a declaration of safe passage and a heads up that I'm doing and saying exactly what I'm supposed to be saying according to the way it was written before the foundations of all your man-made jumbo. Your man-made gumbo, you gumbo, yo jumbo. Now, what is it that I wanted to kiki with y'all about? Oh, okay. So let me give you a message to make you realize that you will be trapped in accepting the mark of the beast. if you accept the money that Elon Musk is throwing out there to the people. I heard some people earlier today, they trying to find out how to apply, or they probably ops trying to make sure they get people to apply. If you accept because you didn't read the fine print, do you want to know and understand and confirm what I am saying? That I'm not just saying this on some conspiracy theory. Do you know what a dividend is? Just the fact that it got div in it. Huh? Just the fact that it has div in it. You want to go and look up what a dividend is. But for those who don't like to research and like to wait for the last minute and the money always looking good to them, I'll explain to you what a dividend is. Dividends are ways for a business to share a portion of their profits with their shareholders. Elon has specifically stated, and he put it out there, but he been working on it. How do I get the American people to become shareholders? Once you become a shareholder, there's particular contracts that you would have to sign. And because a lot of people are not going to take the time to read the fine print, you have now accepted the X mark, the Tesla mark, the Mars society mark, and everything that Elon stands for. You have now become part of his company. When a company earns a profit, it can choose to reinvest that money back into the business, pay down debt, or distribute it to its shareholders in form of dividends. These payments are usually made on a regular basis and can be a form of cash or additional shares of stock. But what it does, it is also helps them build their money. So just imagine his company now, without your uh, agreement, if you don't read the fine print, has now millions of shareholders versus the hundred of thousands of shareholders. Now, everybody, millions of people are the shareholder in the company. You have that, but people do that on trial and basis and error and stocks just to keep up with the stocks. But in this shareholding dividend exchange, you become the stock. So cash dividends, the most common type of dividend is shareholders receive a cash payment per share they own. So you really feel like you were going to be part owner of whatever company he relinquishes the dividends to or from. Stock dividends, instead of cash, shareholders receive additional shares of the company's stock. So, meaning he don't actually have to give you cash. If he said 5,000 dividends, it could just be the 5,000 uh light equivalents of Bitcoin. I don't want to say 5,000 Bitcoins because they're not going to give you 5,000 Bitcoins. But they would match the what the US dollar is for right now in the initial attempt to see how it all pans out. It's all just to get you to accept the mark, to accept the X mark. And under that contract, they may say you are now accepting that you are a shareholder and you are abiding to this contract for 5 years. Let me look at and see if I could see anything about shareholder contracts. And then if you don't abide by the terms of the contract, you could be thrown into or blown into smithereens or thrown down a lake of fire. A shareholder agreement is a legally binding contract between the owners of a business. It outlines how the company runs, rights of the shareholders, and how the shareholders can transfer their shares. Just imagine the same time he give you them $5,000, he switched the light switch on to Starlink and say, now you must pay all your bills through this company. You actually didn't get nothing because your first bill goes to Starlink. Huh? Elon, you dirty dog. The rights of shareholders and how shareholders can transfer their shares. To protect shareholders' rights and ensure they are treated fairly, to establish a framework on how the company is managed, control, and how to control ownership. That's what I'm going to go into when I go into these 24 demons that they got standing on guard. Like they think they finna run something. Enforceability. A shareholder agreement is enforceable if it meets the basic contract requirements, offer, acceptance, and consideration. It can become enforceful, an enforcement, enforceability to accept the dividends that Elon is going to dish out to the Americans. Then I'm going to show you another thing going on right now with his hometown. Let's see something. Let me see if I can find shady shareholder agreements. I'm going to leave that alone for now. As a matter of fact, I'll come back to that later because what I'm about to do is going to take some time. Okay? What I'm about to do is going to take some time. As I sit here and I call out to the spiritual wickedness and high places and all the demons and dukes and authorities that are working for darkness, I address you accordingly, Diana or Dina. I dress you accordingly, Lynch. I address you accordingly, the Guild of Solomon. I address you accordingly, the Sabweds. I am addressing you accordingly, the Catalans. I am addressing you accordingly, the Derals or the Doyer Walls. I am addressing you accordingly, Kaldas. I am dressing you accordingly, Logans. I am addressing you accordingly, Milbys or the Milbai or the Malbas. I'm addressing you accordingly, the Bones or the Bonze. I am dressing you accordingly, Ara or Ayara. I'm addressing you accordingly, the Swarms or the Swarmes. I'm addressing you accordingly, the Gordons or the Gordons. I'm addressing you accordingly, the Belt, the Loves, the Power Lens, the Athos, the Albani, the Vathers or the Vadors, the Igors, the Bowans, Hedals, the Cambridges, the Ensign and Burlington of time and frequencies and travels and spiritual wickedness in high places bow as she transitions. Step aside and hold the doors open. 19 times 19, Psalm 21 grants her safe transition. These 24 elders that I am addressing is in their federal register to let you know that they're standing guard as of today. If they are successful in trying to capture or block the safe passage, then their event will take place not April 13th, immediately. And they know the events that I'm referencing. Immediately. So stand down, step aside. See, y'all don't know why the Bahamians blow the whistles. The coaches blow a whistle, but the technology of the whistle while you work, the technology of the whistle, especially the whistles that was created for a dog's ear, that if you blow that whistle hard enough, when you hear the frequency bands around you, you know the frequency sounds that I'm talking about when you turn on your computer system and you turn on everything and you all you can hear is tss, you hear the frequency. If you blow the whistle loud enough, it makes it brings it down. It stops it for a second. Why you think they used whistles in the police force back in the days before they was using guns? Before they was using guns, they would use whistles. Y'all didn't know that and realize that. Before they were using guns, they didn't say freeze, they would blow their whistles. When they wanted to control traffic, they didn't have stoplights. They had the whistle, the knowledge. If everybody would go right now, those in the community that want to see an adjustment and change in the frequency, if everybody would go and get them a coach's whistle and everybody just start blowing, huh? You'll see just an adjustment with that car band frequency that comes from a whistle. Whistle while you work. Ch-ch-ch-ch-ch-ch-ch. All right. Let's go into this document that they say is a proposed rule, but they already using the spell right here. They're already using this spell. This spell was established and created all the way in 1990. This spell was created all the way in 1990. This spell was also that has been amended from 1980. Federal Aviation Administration. The aviation, Avi. Mm. Am I sharing the screen? Let's share the screen. So the names that you heard me call are here in this spell that they're doing for the next generation or reconstruction and the movement on which they are trying to slide. Huh? They trying to slide into it. Aeronautical, economic, environmental, and energy related aspects of the proposal. Some of you have been with me when I've gone over these names in here and showed you how all these names, yeah, they are places, but the document is a spell. Their documents, these documents are like their prayers and calling on their demons. Just say this background alone. Let's go right here, just to the background alone. Right here. And let me make it a little bit larger. Each one of these names are out of Greek, Solomon's house, or some form of demonic entity of the past. And they revive them every time Elon sends his ship out, or they break the sound barrier, or they change up the frequency bands. This is the information that they use, and they put it here not just for you as a civilian, but they put it here for all of their workers all over the land. You think they have time to send emails to every individual that is part of their guilds and binding or satanic movement? Just as there are billions of beings who are indigenous to the kingdom of heaven, and they want love and light, and their names are written in the Lamb books of life and light, there are billions of people that don't want that. They love sin and wickedness and evil. So let's start with the Catalans. That first one there, that first demonic force. Grandma, you talking about a people? You talking about a set of people? Nope. I'm talking about the demonic force. Okay. I addressed you under the authority of the living word. 19 times 19 comes to Psalms 91. And you, the first hour on the list, under the uh, couple Lynch and Dirty Dina, Caitlin's, I address you. So here is, let me first show you a picture of the Caitlin Wars. Mhm. I'm going to show you a picture that comes straight out of the Caitlin Wars. Now, I told you it is under St. George that they have tried to keep me bound, right? I explained that to you. Did I explain that to you? Under the sister city of St. George, they purposely, and it was ordered that I be born at the Treasure Coast, but the Treasure Coast is a sister city to St. George of the demonic forces, or those of my um connected to my ancestral flesh that have been um keeping us in bondage. So look carefully now at the Caitlin or the Catalans. This is the first name on that list. Here are the Catalans. See the name right there? I'll just highlight it right here. And it said, no, that's in Alabama. No, that's the guys. That's the disguise. And yes, Alabama, you break that down, but that's the uh where their guild craft comes from, or the territory where the Masonic orders and sacred orders are holding the ceremonies. That's the area, that's the territory. But the force coming out of Alabama is the Catlins or the Catalans or the Catalans, the catalyst. So here, this depiction of the Catalan War, when they went against the Lion of Judah for the second time. This was the second time. Remember, I told you this right here is the last time. This may be the last time. But see, the people, you look here, you see the color. Look at the colors. Remember, I showed y'all the same bird when the civil engineering program came in to the Bahamas and told their lion stories and flipped the script and flipped the story and painted a picture that is not what the picture is supposed to be. See that bird? Remember, I showed you on that book, the book of the civil engineering. Now, you see the person right there with the cross. And I remember I explained about Bathsheba. You see that that's a woman right there. Then you see the color, you see their faces, you see the shapes of their nose, and then you look over to the beings right here. What color? Look at the color. Look at their features. Look at him down there. He looked like somebody in the community. That may be a woman, but she has on red. Look at him. He has on, look at his face. Look at that man's face. Look how they have Ja on the horse's decoration. You see the word Ja right there? You can't see it. When I said that Adonijah was from of Judah, Solomon wasn't even supposed to get the temple. Bathsheba stepped in. You see, they tell the story time and time again. Look, of the soldiers going in. See the color? See the color? See the color? So why is the Catalans the first on the list if this is just about aviation report and route points that need to be fixed and waypoints? So this depiction of the war, where another battle of the pigs. They love to use the term pig. Was created in 1450. This is the Second Mars War. Is it the Second Mars War? This picture was created in 1450 of the Second Mars War with the Catalans or the Caitlins. All right. The Caitlins or the Catalans. French, Occitan, Spanish, Italian, and Sardinians are Catalans, are a Romance ethnic group. So they're just not one set of people. They are a blend of the Catalan of Andorra, the French of the Vulgans or Bulgarians, the Occitans of France, the Valdarans, Duran, and the Spanish Bulgarians. And then the Italians, the Sardinese. There is their flag. I'm just showing you. It's not that I can't read it. The Franks, the Aragons. I just became a little disgusted. I just became a little disgusted, and um, I'm going to leave this document right here and go into a meditation because I've done the work and what I needed to do and say was said enough without me doing all the extra. Everything here has a particular meaning. Everything. The Q in the 64, every single one of these places, including the Tar River. As a matter of fact, the Tar River is about to go into their flood stage. The Tar River is about to flood, and they just put in there the thing to block me. There, the Tar River is part of the reconstruction plan. This Sawed is actually a V. The guild is the guild out of Solomon's, the Song of Solomon. There's a guild that protects the Songs of Solomon. And as a matter of fact, the book, anybody that wanted to even purchase the book from the guild, and guild, if you look at the meaning of guilds are those that work the myrrhs and enchantments and um, spells, or they are the crafters, the witch crafters, the chanters over the myrrhs. And they work with ownership tools. So everything in regards to Elon and Notre Dame and their one word order to purchase you and have you accept the mark of the beast through this dividend exchange comes from their guild, and their guild is right there in the heart of North Carolina, and I'm pretty sure it's probably there on the Serpent Mound. Because there's seven serpent, how many serpent mounds are there? So the Kalda is another demon. The Vor is one of their goddesses, and as above, so below. Then in between each of the separations of their hours of time. So you have the six here, and then they have their stars. They have five-pointed stars underneath the first spells or the first region of demons. The vortex, the tack is the point where they're going to use the measurements and the heartbeat of the people, where they upload the the frequency. It has nothing to do with the airspace as much as it has to do with the space itself. So, tack, if you look at tack in front of a heart, or tech, tachycardia, or tachometer, it's a measurement of. And the measurements that they have used to pull the frequencies to get the river to go into that stage of flooding. Remember yesterday I let you know that they're doing an underwater injection through the basins. All of these things and events that happened in previous times that they weren't successful, they think they are finally successful. And that's why they're so boldly going forward with everything. And we are at the last stage because they have to be transparent. They have to, they cannot trick you or fool you. So they put this information here. And then they tell you directly what we're going to do. He didn't even stutter. He said, yes, and I'm dividends. But how many people heard dividend? All they heard is, we going to give out money, and didn't go to do the research to know what the dividends mean. This is the moment that people from years ago been waiting to see, when they roll out the system that would have to make a choice to accept the mark of the beast. Because believe me, if you decide you don't want to accept it, you are automatically now on the reverse side. Think about it. He's making speeches of how he's going to make the world a better place. And I have all this set aside for you. I have signs and wonders of new constellations in the stars. Huh? I can make rockets fly. I can make fire in the sky. I done showed y'all all kind of signs and wonders that I am able to do as a one individual. I have showed you that a nobody out of Africa can make it and become the president of the United States. I was a nobody, hair falling out. Y'all had no idea who I was. And all of a sudden, here I am with all the miracles. And I'm going to even take you to Mars if you let me. And then you say, no, you don't want it. What you think about to happen? The phones have transitioned over. Once he set out that grok, he sent the grok with the gores and the Igors. Back to it. All these demons that they have here. Logan is a demon. Milby. All of these are demons and spiritual wickedness in high places. You can go and look and do the research for yourself if you have to break down the word. The swarm that didn't happen when they needed it to happen, they done fixed that. The whip, the WP, that's the whip. The vortex is the knowledge out of the darkness, or their goddess of Vor. That they honor and worship the demonic forces out of that. The Gordons, trust the Gordon fishermen. When you go and research who the Gordons are, that's another. And here they put them in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-hour interval. So they take 8 hours here. They did 6 hours here. And in between each chant or each spell of the demons that they're putting them in the positions, they put the 5 stars. Deer Park, that DME, that's the demigods that they have there. As a matter of fact, the Gordonsville, I could go back, they reptilian, they're a whole reptilian race. So it's the Gordinias. And they have proof that their bloodline is out of the demon or the reptilian race. Here, Dina, again, that's the Diana, the same goddess from, let's see, Acts. The same goddess from Acts, what is it? Acts 19. Let me get to it. Where is it? Is it Acts 19? Acts 19. Now you'll have somebody who have no knowledge and they don't really study the Bible to study to show they self-approved. And they'll say, well, the Dina or Diana in the Bible, she was a goddess of fertility and marriage. And although she was not, she was a whole statue worshiping demon, that when they were doing their witchcraft and it was called out, they lost their mind. They lost their mind when somebody said something negative about their statue. They was about to kill people over a dirty Diana statue. That same goddess and that same entity that Greece and Rome and all of them was worshiping back then, they still to this day have their guilds continue to bind and utilize the energy and that same energy in this prophetic scripture of Acts 19. As a matter of fact, let me read the scripture. The tradesmen, remember the tradesmen come out of the guild of merchants. Let me show you guild. The tradesmen are the guilds of merchants right here. Paul felt impelled by the Holy Spirit to go across to Greece before returning to Jerusalem. And after that, he said, I must go to Rome. He sent his two assistants, Timothy and Aristus, or erase it, on ahead to Greece while he stayed a while longer in Asia Minor. But about that time, a big blow up developed in Ephesus concerning the Christians. It began with Demetrius, a silversmith. Oh, let me pause that for a second and tell y'all something else that's going on. So right now, as they go into their worship, all of the, let me see, I gotta find it. There's a group of beings, I think it's the swarms that include, oh, it's the tack gods. The tack gods include the Modis, Narendra. Let me type it in right here, as a matter of fact. So I'm not just giving you, let's go, tack gods. And then I'm going to tell you something else. Right. All the beings and the gods that Modi them are raising right now. That's the tech gods. It's a not just one or two. They are the heads that's holding together. So as they go into this particular conclusion of the or ending of that cycle where they had their 200 million warriors waiting in the water, right? And now they're going into Ramadan, which is still a branch off, right? All of the different sacrifices and sacrificial things that they do on that end in the old world, they're still doing over, well, in the new world, they're doing over here in the old world in a different particular way. So they'll have particular murders that make it to headline news or don't make it to headline news in a seance, uh ritualistic type format, to let all of the demons and uh workers of spiritual wickedness and iniquity be informed. So there's three situations that happen, that it's the names again that will allow you to understand and comprehend what's going on. The individual that killed his grandmother or grandparents, his name was like Dark Boosie. So that is a sign of something that needs to be done in the hip hop industry that they don't want to leave out. Then another being they want to address and attack, the Patmos, the descendants of, or those who uh, received and accepted the Patmos way under the Smiths. This person's name is D'Angelo, and then they had in his paperwork Patmos. And I couldn't tell if it was saying that Patmos was the name of the weapon used, but according to the way the story goes, he was just sitting in the car. And then there was some other individual in the house, and I don't know, like he just got stuck and he was sitting in the car with a little girl. And I believe there was a frequency that was sent into for that individual. The other one, that probably was, yeah, he did what he did. But again, the name of that individual is, no, you can't make this up, D'Angelo. And then the term Patmos was on the paperwork, and Smith. And then I hate to have to put the focus on these Hollywood uh demons, but y'all know all the roles that Gene Hackman played. And Gene Hackman right now is under the microscope, but just his name alone, the genes, the genetic, and the hacking that Elon Musk is working on to be able to purchase your light code, huh? In a smooth transition, to be able to purchase you, to get you to accept the mark of the beast, the Gene Hackman. Those are the three events that took place in less than 24 hours. Within 24 hours of the day before. Remember yesterday I told y'all there's something the day before the 28th? So they're addressing what people so-called the culture. Uh, and then the branding. And then the genetics. Now, this name, the Darrells, there was something interesting in that I also found in this demonic code here, the Darrells. In German or in other languages, in the romancing of the stones, the languages, uh, the Darrow could be broken down as DOER, the doors walled, right? And Daryl itself means the son of, or that he came from Ariel, and Ariel is the symbol of the Lion of God. Okay? But remember, I told you it's as above, so below. But when there's a movie, I don't ever remember seeing this movie, but fits right into it. This fits right into it. 1985. 1985. Let me share the screen. Let me read you the overview of Daryl. Hmm? This science fiction movie, released in the United States and Canada June 14th. Saturn Award Best Performance by a Young Actor. Daryl is an artificial intelligence experiment created by a government company called Tascom. Physically resembling a 10-year-old boy, Daryl's brain is actually a highly advanced microcomputer with extraordinary abilities, including exceptional reflexes, multitasking skills, and ability to hack computer systems. The experiment was intended to produce a super soldier and was funded by the military. One of the scientists involved in the project, Dr. Mulligan. becomes delusioned and decides to free Daryl. Pursued by a helicopter, Dr. Mulligan sacrifices himself to ensure Daryl's escape, driving off, driving his car off a cliff. Daryl is subsequently discovered by an elderly couple and taken to an orphanage in Bankerton, South Carolina. Barkington, South Carolina. The dogs, the doji, who let the dogs out? Barkington, South Carolina. Say, what are you talking about, Grandma? What does that have to do with you? Just forgot what I just showed you? Did you that soonly forgot what I just showed you? This right here, Daryl, correlates with this spell. Their intent, everything that they're doing, they putting it out there. So back to Daryl. Let's finish reading about Daryl. Daryl is subsequently discovered by an elderly couple and taken to an orphanage in Barkington, South Carolina. However, he has no memory of his true identity after being placed with his foster parents, Joyce and Andy Richardson. Daryl begins to rejoice, y'all, exhibit exceptional talents. Daryl's social skills are limited due to his isolated upbringing, but he befriends Turtle, a sarcastic, wisecracking neighbor. Daryl shares that he has amnesia and hope his real parents will find him someday. As Daryl observes Turtle playing video game called Pole Position. Oh my goodness, see? Pole position right now with the pole shift. And even in this document references a pole. Where is it? The policies. Huh? Where did I see the pole here? Let's share this tab. Where did I see the pole? Was it up here next to Lynch? I just saw a pole recently. Mm-mm. Mm. Or it might have been in one of the names. It may have been in one of the names that uh, one of these 24 names. Because again, it's 24 of these forces that they have um on standby right now. Back to Daryl. So the game is called Pole Position. It is a 1982 racing video game developed and published by Namco for arcades. It was licensed to Atari Inc. for US manufactured distribution. Pole Position is considered one of the most important titles from the golden age of arcade. There they have the golden age in this document. And it was an evolution of Namco's earlier, and I'm not going into opening that. He effortlessly outperforms him, displaying superhuman ability. Andy decides to teach Daryl social skills through baseball, where Daryl excels, hitting multiple home runs and impressing everyone. Daryl also demonstrates his advanced capabilities when he helps Andy rectify an issue with an ATM and manipulates it to put more than $1 million into a foster father's account. During a baseball game, government agents locate Daryl and return him to Tascom, a facility in Washington, D.C., where his memory is restored. Daryl undergoes debriefing, and it is revealed that his capacity for human emotions has deemed the project a failure, leading to a decision to terminate him. Dr. Stewart, one of Daryl's creators, helps him escape, assisted by Dr. Lamb, who now questions Daryl's true nature. Daryl and Stewart evade their pursuers with Daryl's driving skills. However, the next day, while trying to escape a roadblock, Dr. Stewart is shot and later dies from his injuries. That night, Daryl sneaks into a military base and steals a jet. Daryl contacts Turtle, instructing him and Sherry to meet him at Blue Lake, a familiar location. The Air Force attempts to intercept the plane but fails. Daryl ejects at the last moment to fake his death while the plane is destroyed. However, he lands unconscious in the lake and drowns. Daryl's body is rushed to a hospital but shows no sign of life. Dr. Lamb discovers Daryl and reactivates his electronic brain, reviving him. With Daryl now declared dead, he is no longer pursued by Tascom. He joyfully reunites with his foster family, bringing happiness to everyone, including Turtle, who believe Turtle Island, who believed Daryl could not die since he was a robot. Mm. So, hmm, okay. All right. Even this T414 has a meaning. And again, all of these names have been addressed in these hours. Now, did I finish reading? Because I put it down just to go, okay. So back to the silversmith. It began with Demetrius, a silversmith who employed many craftsmen to manufacture silver shrines of the Greek goddess Diana or Dina. Here's Dina right here in the paperwork. There's Dina right here. She's under the New York and Albany force. And or heritage or demonic um guilds out of Solomon's temple. He called a meeting of his men together with others employed in related trades and addressed them as follows: Gentlemen, this business is our income, as you know so well from that you've seen and heard. This man Paul has persuaded many people that handmade gods aren't gods at all. As a result, our sales volumes is going down. And this trend is evident not only here in Ephesus, but throughout the entire province. Of course, I am not only talking about the business aspect of this situation and loss of our income, but also in the possibility that the temple of the great goddess Diana will lose its influence, and that Diana, this magnificent goddess worshipped not only throughout this part of Turkey, but all around the world, will be forgotten. So they had, according to scripture, she was worshipped, Dina, all around the world. That's why I said the head honchos for this document is Lynch and Dina. Now, what happened? At this, their anger boiled and they began shouting, "Great is Diana of Ephesians." Now they getting so mad about this because it's going to mess up their money. Because it's going to mess up their money. A crowd began to gather, and soon the city was filled with confusion. Everyone rushed to the amphitheater, dragging along Gaius and Arch or Arise Tarchus, Paul's traveling companions for trial. Paul wanted to go in, but the disciples wouldn't let him. Some of the Roman officers of the province, friends of Paul, also sent a message to him saying, begging him not to risk his life by entering. Inside, the people were shouting, and some one thing to and some another. Everything was in confusion. In fact, most of them didn't even know what they were there for. Alexander was spotted among the crowd by some of the Jews and dragged forward. He motioned for silence and tried to speak. And when the crowd realized he was a Jew, they started shouting again and kept it up for hours. Great is Diana the Ephesians. Great is Diana of the Ephesians. Now, how is it that they realized he was a Jew? Was it his features? Was it his phenotype? Is it the words? Was he speaking Ebonics? What language was he speaking? At last the mayor was able to quiet them down enough to speak. Men of Ephesus, he said, everyone knows that Ephesus is the center of the religion of the great Diana, whose image fell down to us from heaven. Since this is the indisputable fact, you shouldn't be disturbed no matter what is said, and should do nothing rash. Yet you have brought these men here who have stolen nothing from her temple and have not defamed her. If Demetrius and the craftsmen have a case against them, the courts are currently in session and the judges can take the case at once. Let them go through legal channels. And if there are complaints about other matters, they can be settled in a regular city council meeting. For we are in danger of being called to account by the Roman government for today's riot, since there is no cause for it. And if Rome demands an explanation, I won't know what to say. Then he dismissed them and they dispersed. Now, to y'all head demons in charge and the 24 that is sitting here in this document that y'all trying to avoid safe passage. I'm going to say it like it was said to them. Look, this message is for everyone involved in this document right here. I know what it's about. You know what it's about. And I'm talking and speaking directly to you. Y'all need to go through the right channels, the legal channels of this binding contract. The living word. Because there's been complaints all over through the 144,000 messages that was sent in these past 400 years. So through 144,000 days. And these complaints and other matters should be held and settled at regular galactic meetings, because you are in danger of being held accountable by the Galactic Federation. We don't need no more pig invasions. They gave instructions through Israel's intelligence forces and other forces to tell Trump to hold off and wait and not to cause no mass hysteria. But believe me, if safe passages, there will be problems. Mass hysteria won't be all the way past April until y'all June month, the 5 months that's written in this contract. So don't abide by the contract. Greater light. Y'all think the war broke out because that wasn't a natural transition with my brother. That's why the war broke out. My son, they killed him. That wasn't a natural transition. That's why the Twin Towers fell. Now, she knows, and I know that this transition ain't natural, but she's trying to be forgiven. And she says, thank you to the Most High. And thank you for every situation that she experienced on this plane, that she was the guardian over me. Now, since we know that this transition and those involved, that it wasn't natural, I was given word to get this message that her transition is smooth and safe, or you'll see worse than the last 2 transitions you saw with your own naked eye. Greater light.